We'll continue with the Y. I don't want to say long. With the Y sound. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me make this a little bit. Just a second. I'm going to see if I can make it a little bit. No, it's not cooperating. Let's just try one more time. I can make this. Okay, there we go. So we're looking at the Y, and here we're looking at freaky pronunciation. You know, how do you pronounce the crazy Y? But this time the Y is the short I sound. Now you know that the I, because we've looked at this before, the I has more than one sound. It's not as freaky as the U. It's definitely not as freaky as the Y, but the I also has its complications, complexities. So let's look at the crazy Y, but when it's pronounced like the short I, not the long I. Olympian, Olympia, Olympics, onyx. That's a stone that you find. I don't know if it's just Mexico, but I remember when I first saw the stone and it was made, and there was a chess set made out of onyx. Nymph. That's Greek. Yes, Greek mythology. What a nymph is, look it up. Plymouth. The Pilgrims landed at Plymouth. This is in New England. I think it's Massachusetts. Plymouth. Pyknic, but I told you I'm not going to do the prefixes and suffixes and roots. You can see this. This is a prefix. I do that when I'm talking about prefix, suffixes, and roots. And the name for all of those are affixes, an affix. Rhythm, not rhyme, rhythm, rhythm. Doesn't it look like there's no vowel in that word? So you know that the vowel is the Y, because there is no word in the English language without a vowel. Because a vowel is the part, it comes, vowel comes from the word like vocal, like the voice. It allows you to pronounce. If you don't have a vowel, it's like, you can't pronounce, where the vowel allows you to pronounce, to breathe, to make a space. So you have rhythm, right? So it allows you to breathe and make a space. I used to ask my students, are there any words in the English language that only contains either a consonant or a vowel? And they said, no, there's no words that contain only either only a consonant and a vowel. I said, you're correct when you say there are no words that contain only a consonant, because otherwise you can't pronounce it. But there are several words, important words, very important words in the English language that only contains a vowel. For example, a vowel. I. In French, je. I know my pronunciation is horrible. Je. And in Spanish, yo. First person, subject pronoun, first person, singular. A dog, a cat. When it's not before a vowel, See, A, E, no, I, yes. O, no, you don't say O like O, it's O-H. U, no, U is spelled Y-O-U. And Y by itself means nothing. It's just a letter. Okay, let's continue. NYCT, it's a prefix. Pygmy. I think this is insulting now. These are a particular African groups, I think in West Africa, very numerous. And the reason they call them pygmy because they are, I guess from a Western perspective, extraordinarily short. I don't know if calling pygmy, I really don't know. Because there's a lot of names that people were given, groups were given by European or Western explorers. I don't say discoverers because they didn't discover anything. Everything was there before they came. The only thing is they came, and now because they came, they said now it exists. So it'd be good to look it up in the dictionary if it's still considered a viable name, a non-insulting name. The things you can look up. Because a word can change its meaning, and a word that at one time didn't have any cultural baggage has cultural baggage. Let me give you an example. The word colored. At one time, when I was a child, and when my father was a child, most definitely, and when my grandfather, most definitely, colored was what Black people call themselves. I'm colored. Race men who they thought their job was to uplift the race, they called themselves colored. W.B. Du Bois called himself colored. I'm just hearing about a new person that no one's ever heard about before. I think his name is Henry Pace, P-A-C-E. Before he decided to change to pass for white, he called himself colored. That word now is very insulting. But I think that word can now take it, and it also takes on a different meaning. It means a Black person who's not proud that he's Black or she's Black. But I think that word can take on a different meaning. Because colored does not mean people of color. They don't mean the same thing. Rhythmical, Olympic. The Olympic Games are starting in about a month or two in Japan, but because of the pandemic, the majority of the people don't want it. Complicated. Physical, that PH is pronounced like an F. Always when you see a PH together, it's pronounced like an F. I don't know any exceptions. I'm not saying there aren't any, but if they are, the word isn't common. Tyranny, I was going to say tyranny, but it's not, since I'm talking about the short Y. You hear people pronounce it tyranny, but the correct pronunciation is tyranny. Oops. Sorry for the sound, for the noise. Oh, rhytidectomy. That is complicated word. I've never, this is not a common word. I think it's even it's a much more academic word. Pyknic. Normally, at least in American English, picnic is spelled with an I and not with a Y, but it has the same pronunciation. Nicatalgia. These words I've never heard before. These words are in the dictionary. I'm pretty sure I got this word out of a medical dictionary. So a doctor would be able to pronounce the word. Because see, that just shows you, as I was saying before, in English, if you've never heard the word before, I know it's not nigh, cytology. I suspect that the C and the T, the C is not pronounced, just the T. I suspect, but I've never heard the word before. I think it's in, because I also consult medical and law dictionaries. PIM, tyrannosaur. I've heard tyrannosaur also. Physics, where I have no problems because I've heard the word before. Where I have problems, I haven't. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't know the word. That's why I try to keep it on the cards long enough so that you can copy it down, look in a dictionary, see what the pronunciation is, or maybe go to someone who maybe know medical English. Pyramid, you know what a pyramid is. Onichia, onichia, once again, I've never heard the word pronounced. I think it's from the medical dictionary or law dictionary. I've done these cards several years ago. And the pronunciation, I don't mind you seeing me having problems with pronunciation. I don't mind because that's realistic. When an English speaker sees a word they've never seen before, or they haven't seen for many, 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 many years, or for a very long time, they have problems pronouncing the word. And they said, "Do you know how to pronounce this?" Lymph, like lymph notes. Lynch, to lynch someone is to kill somebody by, like you have a lynching party, you go, you get to pull the person out of the house or pull the person out of the jail, and you force them to go with you. And it's usually a group of people, and you are hung or hanged and you're lynched. They did that a lot. And not just in the South, to Black Americans or African Americans, depending on how you want to call it. Lyndon Baines Johnson was the president of the United States as a result of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. He decided not to run in 1968. He was a Democrat. He was a Southern Democrat, but he changed. And he was the one that successfully got through the Civil Rights Bill and the Voting Act. So Blacks were able to be treated somewhat, at least legally, as full human beings. Now here's why, as a consonant, oyster, beyond, beyond. So here, these are examples of what I said was not common. The Y is not beginning the word, but the Y is a consonant. And how do I know? Well, because of the pronunciation. Yeah. Oyster, beyond. Ayuthia. I think that's how it's pronounced. Yacht. I will never get a yacht, even if I become a multimillionaire. I just don't see the joy in getting a yacht. But people have different tastes. Yak. There's an expression goes yakety yak, yak, yak. That's usually when they're talking to a woman, they go yakety yak, like she's talking too much. Yankee. In the Civil War, you had the rebels and you had the Yankee. The British called us during the War of American Independence, the British called the Americans Yankee. There was a song, Yankee Doodle came to town, riding on a pony. And I forgot the rest. I used to sing when I was a little girl. But I think it's insulting to Americans, I'm not sure. Yard. Yard can be a place behind the house, and it can also be a form of measurement, like an inch, feet, a foot, a yard of cloth. I can remember my aunts getting yards of cloth because they used to make their own clothing. They used to sew. Yawn, to yawn. Oh, I'm so tired. That's to yawn. Yeah, yay, 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 yay. I don't think I have to explain that. Oil, yellow, the color yellow. What is it? Mellow yellow. There used to be a song back in the day. Yield, to temporarily stop for someone so they can, you'll see that as part of a traffic, in traffic. Yoga, yucca, bi-yearly, twice a year, by being twice. So we saw the Y, we see the Y as a vowel when it imitates the long I sound, when it imitates the short I sound, excuse me, and we see the Y when it imitates, when it's a consonant. It's not imitating anything, it's its own sound. Once again, this is Corella Ficklin McLean at welcome.com. Please visit my sites, especially my channels, YouTube channels. This is where all this is at. Okay, so we're going to stop sharing. And I want to thank you very much for visiting my sites. Thank you. You have a great day. And if you can, if you find it helpful, please subscribe. Bye-bye. Have a great day.